And we want to try to duplicate the size and the proportion of that. And then again, just, mash it down, plant it, onto that base. Okay?
On the outside.
Yeah, right across here. See, and it should end up almost right up against that leg.
Like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. But here, let's move it back a little bit. See, and then just push it down. And then see, push these together. Now what you've got is you've got part of the lower leg there. Now we can build onto that, we can take off from it a little bit later, but we want to basically make another piece the same length, and we want to do the same thing on the outside for her other leg.
That's two, she's got 2 legs.
She does, Rita. She has 2 legs. She's bipedal. How about that? And just kind of roughly measure it. And again, we're going to plant that right out here. Now, and you may have to get up to actually see what's going on with that leg, but that foot is not up against her hip. It's actually out away from it. About, probably there's a 3 or 4 inch gap at least. Yeah, maybe more like 6 inches. Okay?
I need quality control over here.
You need what?
Quality control over here.
Okay, well here, make sure that that piece is as long, is as long. Well, yeah. Here. Okay, pretty good. Now, the thing is, it's going to attach it here. Okay, good. And again, this is just a replacement, and these are too tall.
So you cut this down?
Well, you can either cut
Sorry
it
to
down,
look like
or
me.
when we stuff it with paper, we'll fold it over. Okay. Either one. All right, there you go. See,
Okay.
you got that back. All right? Good. So next,
This goes here, right?
yes, it does. Let's get it there onto this, right? Yeah, and see, we gotta keep a gap in between the hip and where the heel is gonna be, okay? So we get it in the right place, right there, okay?
Okay, if it's off the,
Yeah, yeah, because we can build onto it, okay? All right, so guess what? We have successfully laid out the base
Yes.
for this sculpture. Now, what we're going to do from here is we're going to take paper. Now, try not to tear this into little itty bitty bits. Just tear it into long sort of strips. All right. And take a couple of those strips, begin to wrap them up, kind of twist them. Hey, Lawrence.
Do we use several strips for them?
Yeah.
Wrap them up?
See, and then we're going to pack paper into those openings. Yeah. Dorothy, can you give me some paper while you're over there, please? Thank you.
well, that nice little thing you cut out is covered over.
Yeah, how about that? Thank you. Okay. But not really. See, because it will stay open, right? Because when we put this in the kiln,
It'll burn like.
all the paper burns up, right?
Okay.
So it's not going to bond it. Okay? Now again. protect that really well. So fill that void up. Okay.
And we can cover the hole? It's okay that the paper covers the hole?
Yeah. Yeah, because when it's in the kiln, it's going to burn up. Okay. But make sure to pack those really pretty solid, okay? Because you don't want everything caving in on you. Now, I know that this was a pain in the neck, but what we're after here is, you see, we're trying to be fairly accurate, right, with those angles, lengths, and distances right now,
Right.
because that's the key to the whole pose. If you don't get those positions correct now, then you're going to be fighting it throughout the whole sculpture, because everything else is built up from there, and where you're going to anchor her hands and her feet will be based on where you have all of those hooks, right? And now you have a pretty good idea about the size of your sculpture. It's probably about 9 to 12 inches, wide and deep. Because basically, if you measure her depth-wise, width-wise, they're about the same. Okay? You doing okay? All right.
I think mine may be too big, you should check it.
So to speak.
No, I think it's okay. It's a good start. Yeah, we haven't put feet on yet, but we will. Okay? Trust me, we're not going to leave her without feet. Or hands, or torso, or anything else.
No, this is just the base.
Yeah, I've got a whole nother sculpture started over here.
Have papers so they can feed the bees.
Well, I don't think you can make them too big. All right. Now, depending again on your angle and what you can see, right? Her foot actually tucks in under her leg, on this inside. So really, all you really see is the heel.
But on yours, it is on the outside, so was that just a change in the
Yeah.
base?
Well, no, I haven't tucked it totally under. And she's got it tucked under a little more this time than she did last time, and it's gonna vary a little bit.
We could make it
Not
that
easy sitting there.
the foot comes a little against.
Yeah, it's like,
or
well, it
leave
actually
like
goes up.
this, so.
It actually goes up. Well,
but
it
the-
was
Yeah,
under it.
under it.
Yeah, and we'll work that out. Okay.
Is that some, what is?
Yeah. See, all you want to do is you just want to leave enough clay there, because we'll cut and carve on this after a while. Okay. But right now we're just trying to build up the clay thing and make sure that everything gets connected, down to this base really solidly. Okay. All right. Now. So if you take and you pinch both of your pieces here, you pinch it together, see? You end up kind of finishing off the kneecap. And you get it connected. And once you pinch that together, so you can start taking other little, pieces of clay and closing in the top. If you built it up like real high, like you have, Cindy,
Yeah.
again, you can just pinch them, pull them together.
Yeah.
See, take your finger, both
Right.
sides, and just squeeze.
Right.
There you go. Yeah. And you pull those walls over. And see, the paper is gonna keep it spread at the bottom.
Now, should I put another layer of clay here, because it may get thin here on the
Yeah.
top of this stuff?
Yeah, you can build up
A
more
little
clay.
bit, like a little,
Yeah. Okay. Something going to sleep there on you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Only have a few more minutes, so.
Okay.
Are we gonna leave the foot under, or,
Yeah. Hmm?
are we gonna leave the foot under or out? Her side.
What?
I
The
thought it was
foot?
going to sleep, I didn't know if she was trying to do
Yeah.
it here instead of up under here, so it wouldn't go to sleep.
It's fine. Just tuck it under or alongside of it.
Yeah.
Again, it may change, 15 or 20 times between now and the time that we're finally finished with it, so, things move around.
Can't imagine that time.
Yeah? Okay, so right now, start working on closing this up by taking like little pinches of clay, right, and putting it on top of it. And when you do that, see, it begins to look a little like a leg, doesn't it? Oddly enough.
And the second part is actually full. I mean, it's not open. But this part of the leg.
Yeah, no, that can be solid, because it's, again, we want to keep everything kind of at about a 1/2 inch,
Right.
thick at the thickest. And so you're still not going over that 1/2 inch. So you build that up for her calf, right?
I'm using my fingers as a teacher too.
Yeah, well, I'm just using my finger. They're the best tool you got. Yeah?
And you can't forget them.
Right, yeah, you can't leave them at home. Well, let's hope you don't leave them at home. If you do, yeah, if you do, that'll hurt. All right. So here, take some clay, start pinching, and then close that up. Okay?
No, all the paper.
No, not all of it. See, just up here. See, till it meets the hip.
Oh,
So you want to get all that closed in. Then we'll start going up. Okay?
I think so.
Try it, you'll like it.
Charles, I think I left my phone in that room.
No, it's at the front desk.
It's not there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we put it up there.
Thank you. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I took a picture and then I,
Yeah.
super, all right, thank you.
It's okay.
It's gonna end
This is
up
my
being
son, by the
10.
way.
Yeah.
Miss Daisy.
How you doing?
Thank you, Charles.
Wow.
All right. Have a good one.
Is it okay to photograph?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just while I'm
Yeah. Yeah, if you're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, yeah, and you want to go right around it. Now, if you're going to take photographs, here, Cindy, stop. If you're going to take photographs, because you're going to just be sitting, then lower your phone,
Okay.
right, and take it from a lower angle. If you take it up, it's not going to look the same. Okay.
I'm not taking
How are we doing? So, all right, it's almost 3 o'clock. All right, so the model gets a break. You guys don't. All right. So I had started this earlier, all right? And come on back over here. I'm going to talk to you about this. Tommy, you in particular, because you came in late. So you need to know what's kind of going on. Okay. Want to sit well
Tommy?
out of the way.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, you need a chair, I guess.
I'm gonna check.
Okay. So, as you begin to fill, her legs in, all right, I want you to pay attention to the shapes that they make, right? Because they're not sausages, okay? They're not. All right, and as you build it, you'll find that they're kind of triangular shape, okay? And there's a definite angle on the inside the top plane of the leg, and then you don't see much of the underside.
Looking like a grease.
But, you know, we want to begin to get that shape and not just sort of a round tube, right? So when she's back up there, really look at those shapes and try to, you know, get those planes the way that you see them, right? The other thing I wanted to point out, and I think I did earlier, is Rita.
Yeah,
I'm
We're
talking.
Over here.
Okay. Anyway,
He's teaching.
listen. Okay. Now the thing with the hip, so far we've put everything pretty much so straight up and down, right? But when she gets back in position, really look at her back and look at the angle of it and see how far either forward or backward it's angled, and then try to adjust that, right? Before you start going up too high. The same thing with the inside. I think what you'll find is that it's not straight up and down. In fact, her whole hip and pelvis is thrust forward, right? But really look at that, check the angle, and try to set the angle, you know, of the back of your sculpture to what you see, right? Now she's wearing a dress, right, the wrap, but still you can see her hip and you can see her back, and so try to capture that, because that will be important, because all of the rest of her torso, right, will have to kind of curve, right? It's not a straight up, it's got to have an arch in it. Okay. So just keep that in mind, right? Okay. So you guys keep closing those up, and when she gets back, check the angles of the legs, what the planes are doing. Check the angle of the hip and how far it's thrust forward. Right? And that should take us just about to the end of today. Right?
Does it go to 4?
It'll take you that long to do that and get it right. And get the feet put in. Okay?
Get to that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of where we want to get to today. Okay? If you can get further, that's great, but if not, you know, you've done a lot. Okay, Rita. Good. All right, here. All right, let's take that back a little bit. Okay? See, we're going to go up from there. Okay, because that's where it meets her hip. Okay, see, and her torso will come up in here. Okay? All right, go ahead and fill that leg in. All right, cover it like we did this one. So you go ahead and get.
this is really one part of it.
Yeah, see, we want to get clay across here, right? So it makes a leg, right?
So this is side of the shape
To
now.
open. And so pull that back. Let's see, she's a dummy. She's not a dummy. I can guarantee she's not a dummy. So let's see, I'm gonna keep that out, so that's a good distance in here. And see, we can build on, you know, build up the calf, right? Now these look a little bit small right now, right, narrow, but again, it's really okay, because we can keep layering and build it up, and as you build it up, you can really look at the planes, you know, and the angles on each side of that, okay? And try to get those angles set up. Okay, and it's just little pinches of clay. You need to fill those spaces in. And, you know, thicken that up, because again, this is all a little too thick. So, you know, come to the inside and, you know, build up the thickness so it's a little more stable. And you've already got that, you can almost like, you know, just use that, you know, as of the inside. Use along here, maybe along the back. To get it. the distance in here. And remember, that was a really small triangle, right?
So you should move it back.
Yeah, just push this back in. See, it's an easy thing to adjust. So you get that back in there. And by the time that you build on, you know,
Right.
a little more weight for the foot,
Right.
see, then you'll have that.
Now, this is basically the end.
Yeah, that goes maybe a little far out.
I'm trying to figure out, this is a knee.
Uh-huh, that's a knee. You get a star for the day, Rita. You got the anatomy parts right. Okay, now, see, don't flatten her knees.
Yeah, it has to be.
They're
Yeah.
softer, they're a little
Oh,
rounder.
yeah, yeah.
And then, see, you can take, and, you know, right now you've given her a chicken leg, right? So, you know, she doesn't have chicken legs.
Yeah,
She's
I
got,
try to do it gradually. So
yeah.
I don't want to give her fat legs, you know.
Well, actually, you know, when you're building the basic sculpture, you really want to get more clay on there than what you
Right.
think you need, because again, we'll come back and we'll start refining and carving back and shaping, okay? Now, there's two ways of finishing these, right? You can either have like a very smooth finish to them, and it can look very representational, or if you think about a lot of the classical sculptures that were done in the 1900s, they have a very rough, almost hammered look to them. And how that's created is, as we get this base put on, what you'll do is you'll take your clay and you'll just pinch off little pieces, right? And you'll take your thumb and you'll stick it on there and pull, right? And you'll begin to build up clay. But we won't take a tool and go back in and smooth it and work it, right? We'll just leave it rough, and, you know, that will be the finish, okay? So you can go either way, you know, and that's a more impressionistic approach to sculpting, where the, you know, finer finish is a little more classical, okay? So depending on the feel that you want for this, again, it can be a little rougher or it can be a little more refined.
That's good also for here for a man to put leave it like that a little so it's, you know,
Well,
a little bit and then a
Yeah, or even a woman.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And see, rather than thinking of hair as strands, you've got to think of it as masses and shapes, just like you do with the rest of the figure. Okay? That's it. Now don't over, you know, try to build this up, make it a little thicker back through there. See, because this has to carry all the weight that's going to be up here. Okay? And so, yeah, so you want to thicken this wall through here. See, again, about a good ½ inch thick all the way around. All right? So it will carry that weight. Okay. So let's see.
The foot is not so noticeable now.
Yeah, well, the foot wasn't so terribly noticeable when it was under her leg. You didn't see a lot of it, right?
Yeah, but she moved it out.
She did. She moved it out.
She did.
And guess what? Probably at some point she'll move it back under.
So we have to put it half in and half out.
You can put it wherever you want. You can either have it out or you can have it in. Okay?
Well, at the moment, the foot's not important.
No. Right now it's just get this triangle and then get the length of the foot, you know, and some clay down there to kind of represent it. And we'll refine it a little bit more later. Okay? But let's get this leg closed up, because we gotta close it up to about right there. Okay? You getting tired?
I was tired. I started out
You
tired.
started out tired?
I'm waking up now.
You're waking up now? There you go. See, you're just hitting your stride. You're ready to go for another 4 hours, right?
Well, I don't go to bed till midnight.
No? Okay. So you can just hang in here and we'll just keep playing and play to midnight, right?
I could do.
Yeah, that's easier to do. Okay. Alright, so you see now we're kind of back about where, you know, her torso would begin, right? And so we'll start building that up this way.
yeah.
okay?
I sort of lost sight of the whole thing now,
Mm-hmm.
and what it's supposed to look like.
Well, when she gets back up there, you'll get it back, okay?
Yeah, whenever you're ready, I
This
can
has to be smoothed out, doesn't it?
No,
No?
not for right now.
We're ready when.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the basics down to bed, right? We'll have a couple more weeks to,
Oh, really?
mess with it. Yeah, yeah, she's gonna be back here for
This
3
has to come off here.
No, it's fine where it is, okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, so, once she gets back in position, all right, again, spend a little time really looking at her, check out the angle, on like the different shapes in her leg, whether it seems to be a kind of a flatter plane or a rounder. I think it's a little rounder to the outside, a little flatter on the inside. Thank you. And if you got a foot sticking towards you, now would be a good time to stick a foot on there, if you can see it clearly, right? Because, you can see the shape of it. Now, Cindy,
Yes.
hold your arm all the way out, because your arm's not gonna grow anymore today, right? And so it will, no, not to stretch just yet. Okay. And always measure it that way, and that way you keep it the same. Now, where I'm sitting right now, I'm looking at the hip, right? And I'm going to go ahead and turn the sculpture the same way that she is. Okay, I'm going to work with that side. What I'm seeing here on my piece is I've got an angle and it's moving forward, so I'm good there, okay? Now, if that were straight vertical, then I would know that I need to adjust it, Kind of softer and rounder on the outside of the leg. And then the calf and the ankle are a little bit flatter.
give her arthritis, but
But what?
better keep working on it.
Now, don't forget, and I know you guys are dealing with a lot already, but don't forget, the fact that she's wearing a wrap. And
Can we do a new?
Come
We
on.
have to.
ask her. How are you gonna do her,
No news of Bill.
Well, you'll have to see every,
how are you gonna do her nude if she's, all covered up?
well, I can.
You just use your
I guess I
imagination?
pretty well.
In a bathing suit.
I think I know what's under there.
You think?
I think so.
Well, that opens up a
Experience.
whole nother thing, but, yeah. So,
See a bathing suit,
yeah.
but nothing less
Well, not here.
than that. Here, down where we went.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd have to go to Betty's house for that. Either that or over at Glen Ridge. This is a small enough class, we could actually do it at Glen Ridge. But now, and see, a lot of you would probably think that you're gonna take a big piece of clay and stick, the big, piece of clay on for the wrap. But the fact is, what you're doing is you're just building up the high and low spots for the folds. It's not a big solid sheet, okay?
Actually, been a very thin end razor. That's why I'm trying to get a thin.
No, because you'll create an air pocket when you do that.
Oh.
That's why you do little pinches and build up,
Pinching.
yeah, the high and low spots in the fold. But, whichever way you're actually seeing her, try to turn your sculpture at the same angle. And try to again get those same shapes and angles as what you're seeing. Now next time around, fabric will break a whole totally different way. So, kind of stick with what you initially see and get it done.
I'm more logical, I'll be there next week, and,